Our hyper-individualistic society thrives on you believing that you are a burden to your loved ones and a burden to your community. And once we start breaking that idea down is when we start dismantling the whole idea of this individualistic, capitalistic society and start living as actual communities again. Hello, if you've never seen my face before, my name is Sage. I am a stay-at-home mom to 2 toddlers, and most of the time on this account, I talk about self-improvement as it relates to motherhood. But for some of my bonus videos, like this one, you're gonna hear me talking about other things that interest me as well. If you end up enjoying this video, it would mean the entire world to me if you would choose to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so that you can be among the first to know every time I post a new video. And with that, let's get into it. So I want you to think for a second about the way that you feel when you are able to help someone in your community. Whether that be bringing a meal to a friend who is sick, or even something as simple as helping an old lady reach something off of a high shelf in the grocery store. I think we can all agree that it's not a feeling of annoyance that we feel, and more a feeling of pride and care for the people that we love and care about. Our human brains are intrinsically wired to crave the feeling of being needed. That is what builds the basis of human community, right? We want to feel that interplay between human beings of I need you and you need me. We are going to help each other to build a better life for each other, right? I very briefly touched on this topic in my iPad mommy video, and I had multiple people comment on it, even though there was only like a very short segment of me saying anything about this in there, and I was like, oh wow, I think this is a concept that we need to be talking about more. So that's what this video is about. If you haven't watched that video, basically what I said in that section was that instead of asking Google when I have a question, I've been calling my friends and family if I think that it's a question that they would be able to answer. The analogy I gave in that video was about me calling my little sister when I was looking for a tanning oil, whereas in the past I would have like looked up tanning oils on TikTok. But by asking my little sister like what her opinion was on this, not only did I get a recommendation that is more suited to my particular skin, because like duh, she's my sister, but also I got to have a conversation with my sister that I otherwise wouldn't have had, and that little piece of connection would have been previously stolen by Google. Ew. And that is just like one example of this, right? Another thing I've seen talked about in my own particular area of interest is postpartum doulas. So if you don't know, I am a full spectrum doula, meaning I work with women who are pregnant, giving birth, and postpartum. I'm also an aspiring traditional midwife, and so I spend a lot of time in the birth and postpartum spaces. And something that gets brought up a lot when you are listening to women's stories of their birth and postpartum experiences is postpartum doulas and how they felt so unsupported in their postpartum experience, and they either decided they wanted to become a postpartum doula or they decided they wanted to hire a postpartum doula in the future. And I think that comes back to this concept. We have created this whole like career out of something that for all of human history was just community. In the traditional human like village setting, there would not have been a postpartum doula. That would not have been a thing because that was just your community. And I don't want to make this sound like I am blaming women at all, because I have had very similar experiences in both of my postpartums. But I think a lot of this comes back to our idea where we are afraid to ask for help because we are afraid of being seen as a burden. It's so much easier for us to imagine having to pay someone to come and help us, someone that we probably don't even know personally, than it is to imagine living in reciprocity with the people that you love. And I think, like, again, there is nuance to this topic, right? Your postpartum doula is going to behave a lot differently than your mother-in-law who decides that she does not want to, like, respect your boundaries and is, like, kissing your newborn. But that also comes back to the idea where we don't know how to help our people. We have completely lost the plot when it comes to how to take care of people, specifically in this analogy, our postpartum mothers. I've seen a big uptick of people talking about how you have to be a villager in order to experience the village that we've lost, like coming back to that phrase of it takes a village to raise a child. And I think that is a big piece of it, but I also think that we have to understand that we have to ask for help sometimes. If you don't make your needs known, no one is going to be able to meet them. There might be a couple of instances where someone makes a guess and it's a shot in the dark and they're like, you know what, I think I could do this and it'll help that person. But that is not going to consistently be your experience in this life. When we think of being in a romantic partnership, I think this is something that is very clear. Like when you are in a romantic partnership with someone, you have to make your own needs clear. You have to clearly communicate what it is that you need in order for that person to be able to meet your needs. It's foolish to expect them to be able to read your mind and meet your needs without you asking for them to do so. But for some reason, when it comes to living in community, this idea just does not exist. I feel like a lot of us feel like we are being a burden to people if we make our needs known. And I actually believe that it is the opposite of that. If we are not making our needs known to people, we are being a burden to them because we are depriving them of the ability to be helpful. I think a lot of us can feel this feeling of wanting to help people around us, wanting to create that community, but we are fearful to ask if they want or need help around something. And we're afraid of this idea of like overstepping our boundaries or seeming a little too out there. And so we don't make the offer because it feels too awkward and too scary. I think another piece of this is ask culture versus guess culture. This is a concept I learned like way back in the day. I think I was on Tumblr at the time, and it was talking about how there are two different types of families. There are families who have an ask culture and families who have a guess culture. And so basically, like in an ask culture family, no one is going to try to like anticipate your needs. You have to ask for what you want. Then in guess culture families, it's almost like taboo to ask for what you want because people are supposed to anticipate your needs. I grew up in both an ask culture family and a guess culture family because I grew up in two different families, and when I tell you the whiplash was just astounding, I truly do mean it. And I think that to build a good community, you have to have a good balance between ask culture and guess culture. Individuals within the community have to be anticipating the needs of people in their community, but because we know that we can't read people's minds, we should also have that ask culture aspect where you are also asking for what it is that you need. Community is our biggest asset, right? And building that community is one of the most important things we can do when it comes to building resiliency. Asking the people around us for help builds community, and it opens pathways for other people to start feeling comfortable to ask you for help as well. Do not deny the people that you love the joy and privilege of being able to care for you, in the ways that you need to be cared for. And again, remember, this is reciprocity. It's a give and a take. You're supposed to be caring for each other. So I'm not saying go and ask the people in your community to do everything for you, but when you need help with something, ask someone that you love first. Anyways, that's all I have to say on the subject for today, and I'll see you again on Friday.